Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games and a hunt for the best score of the decathlon. Like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. We're on to episode number 36. The season ready to begin. It's 2026 now. Been at this for a while, but things are really starting to come along as we are now going to be playing in Conference C. So in this promotion relegation system, we've made it all the way up to the third tier. And of course, the series, back originally anyway, started all the way down in the lowest tier. So we've gone from 23rd to 3rd. So that's 20 divisions we have moved up since the start of this playthrough. Recruiting, done. Last episode we were going through the recruiting and we were nearly to the contact point. Well, our first target, we got him. And he's a Cougar, Udonis Cougar, ranked number 32 in the nation. He's been hovering right around 30 to 32 each month as the new rankings come out. And so, yes, we have a Cougar. It's a he, and it's a lot younger than we're used to seeing, outside of like Pullman, Washington, or Houston, Texas. But yes, it's a Cougar, and he has joined us. So we got our power forward, A overall. Also, we were able to get Tim Thomas, point guard out of Arkansas, ranked number 41 overall, and he's been hovering around 37 to 43 month by month in the rankings. He was my third choice overall for the not power forwards. We got our first choice power forward, and then we were looking at point guards or centers for the other spot, and Thomas was the third of those choices. First two choices were top 10 guys, and we came close on the second one, actually. He signed with Syracuse, and we were up to number 2 on his list. Really started to make some headway on some of the recruiting. Guys that I went for visits, they signed for the biggest teams. The lowest one I saw that I had looked into was Miami. But other than that, these guys all eventually signed for Michigan State, Syracuse, Duke, North Carolina, Gonzaga. So huge programs. Very prestigious programs. Got those guys, and then I was right there, number 2, number 3. And in terms of offers, Thomas, like I said, was the third one that I gave an offer to. And we signed him right away. So that was fantastic that we were able to get him that easily. It was 1 week of a visit to him without an offer. And then when we lost the other guy, we turned the offer to him the next week, and he signed. So just 2 weeks worth of visits to get him to sign. So that was really good. And that's definitely going to be a good recruiting class, even though it's only 2 players. Probably outside of the top 25 since it's only 2 players. But still, looking good. Now, next year is going to be an interesting one, looking at the roster. Well, because, we have 2 seniors going out, Joey Walter and James Hampton, but then look at all those juniors. Half the team in the junior class right now. That's going to be rough. Now, a couple of those are walk-ons, but that is still a ton of players that are going to be leaving us after next season. I'm going to have 6 scholarships available, and 1 for every position, plus 1. And so we'll be looking to fill each position next season. That's going to be rough. That is definitely going to be a difficult effort, but I will try to get 2 to 3 top guys and focus on that. And then maybe fill 1 more vacancy, and we'll probably hang on to a couple scholarships till the next year because, Shane Kirkland is the only sophomore that we have right now. Might actually even try to redshirt one of these guys, possibly. So we have Derek Webb, who's a redshirt freshman, and then our 2 true freshmen coming in, Kennedy and Nicholson, are both going to redshirt this season. In terms of GPA, there's 2 guys I need to keep an eye out for. And actually, no, they've already improved. Oh, nice. Okay, so let's see who. Oh gosh, who was it now? I had two guys. Chris Emery? No, it wasn't Emery. Yeah, Emery. Emery, his GPA was down to 2.6, 2.5, and I had him study for a month and get a tutor for a month, and that has really paid off. He has corrected that. And the other was Lockwood, I believe. And Lockwood was down to a 2.3, so he has jumped to a 3.1. That is, GPA is taken care of. Walter's a senior, so I'm not worried. He will get through the season without that dipping below 2.0. Nick Few is the next one to keep an eye out on, but at 2.7 he should be secure for now. Here is the makeup of the team, and you can see just how much better we are looking this season. I have 4 players at 4 stars, a 3.5 star, a 3 star, a 2.5 star, and a bunch of 2 stars. I just have these handful of guys. My 2 red shirts and my 2 walk-ons are the only ones that are not 2 stars or above. So, yay! The depth chart. Russell, going to start at the point. Decent defender, good ball handler, good passer. Not amazing in that category, but certainly good. Tim Thomas, by the way, is amazing in high school. He's getting 9 assists per game. He is hands down an A. Like I said, they're both rated A overall, as they're inside that top 50. Thomas could come in and compete with Russell right away next season. And Cougar certainly could be stepping in. And it is... Oh, my seniors are what? Kirkland? Is it Kirkland? Let's go back and look at this again. Who are my seniors? Okay, it is Walter. Kirkland's a sophomore. Walter, and the other senior is Hampton. Walter and Hampton. Oh, wait, hold on. We'll go straight to the depth chart for this one. So Walter, yes, we are going to lose Walter at the end of the season. But we've got Udonis Cougar coming in who could be a starter right away. If not, we certainly have good backups. Nick Few should be about 3 stars next season. And the other one was Hampton. Hampton won't be a loss. He's way down the list. So we actually could and should be even better next season. It's the season after that I am worried about going into another rebuild. But we're definitely looking good. So we got Lockwood starting shooting guard. We've got plenty of scoring ability. Emery's not a great scorer, but Emery is a really good defender. And he certainly does enough other things to warrant a place in the starting lineup, even though he's not quite to the level of the other starters. But mostly is because he's not a scorer. You don't need 5 scorers on the court. You do need some role guys, and Emery is that. Walter, fantastic defense, really good scorer. He is going to do a lot for us. Rebounding. And then Davies, not going to grab very many offensive rebounds, but he is going to grab a ton of defensive rebounds. He is an extremely good defender. You can see our 3 bigs are all really, really good. So the 3-point territory is where I worry a little bit about how much coverage we're going to get on that front. But then lots of quality on the bench, including defensive talent, all the way down to our walk-ons. Kennedy, already a good defender when he plays next year. Nicholson needs some work. But you can see both guys have high potential. Most of the starters are all at about 30 to 32 minutes. Well, they are all at 30 to 32 minutes. And I've actually got a pretty even set of backups. So Kirkland playing center, Fleming power forward, and each of these guys getting 10, 10. Webb at point guard, 10. Few playing small forward, and Thomas playing shooting guard. So we're playing a little bit big in the lineup with the backups in, but it's nice, clean, balanced at about 10 minutes apiece. Hampton, the one guy who's kind of left out. But again, going back, it is Hampton, my senior. It is Hampton. So we won't miss him a bit. He's barely going to play this year, sadly for him in his senior year. That really just means the one player we're going to have to replace next season. I would love to get the season started, but instead of focusing on non-conference games, which, by the way, let's go ahead and look at the schedule. We should cruise through this schedule for the most part. You can see we are home all the way through, except for at our rival Portland. We've got the Battle for Atlantis, where we're going to open up against Kansas State. Tournament in December. But otherwise, it's all home games. And looking at that schedule, you can see that the only threat, UW. That's it. So we should have only 1 or 2 losses by the end of the non-conference schedule. So this episode, we're going to focus less on that, focus on some other things. We're not going to get as many games in here, but it's a good opportunity to update some things, and then we'll cruise through that, and we'll be starting in conference play at Gonzaga. Are you kidding me? We've hit the big time. We've got Gonzaga. We've got Xavier. We've got Villanova. Just massive names in the sport. Virginia's moved up with us back where they belong. Anyway, they should be in one of the top couple conferences. The national champion, reigning, real life. Ohio State, UConn, Boston College, Arizona State, Arizona, Alabama. I'm a little surprised at this high, though. Football, yes, but basketball? UCLA, UNLV, New Mexico. That's our conference this season. We've officially hit the big time. Last season it was like, ooh, wow, ooh, yay. But it wasn't the whole conference. Now it is. I literally just went through that entire list, and one time I went, one in the whole stinking conference. By the way, Washington, they're Conference B. So that's our one challenging non-conference game, other than what we're going to get at Battle for Atlantis. The road game at Portland, even though we are massively higher than them, in terms of conference, in terms of prestige, all of that, quality, rival is rival, and they are the home team, so they'll come into it fired up, looking to play. But like I said, I'll be able to cruise through most of that, so I'll do most of it off camera for this episode. So instead, we're going to take a look at some school records, prestige, all of that here. So, season recaps. Last season, 24-9, ranked 25th in the nation. That was supposed to be a rebuilding year last year, but we made it to the round of 16, the Sweet 16. Year before, only 22-11, but we did make it all the way to the round of 8. The season before, with high hopes, ranked number 6 in the nation, 28-6, went out in the second round. Things kind of fell apart. And then the season before, we had the huge high hopes, and then things came crashing down after some major injuries. The year before was the first time where things really started to come together, and we've had 5 straight NCAA tournament bids, and other than the first time, we made it at least to the second round. This year, I definitely look to replicate this. It's going to be a lot tougher, though. You saw that schedule. We're going to get those non-conference wins, so we should get to 20 wins this season. But it's going to be tough. It is really going to be tough. From here on out, as long as I'm in this conference, actually. Prestige tracking. You can see that after the successes last year, it made no difference whatsoever. Our prestige stayed exactly the same. We're still at 46. It would be nice if a good year this year, especially playing in Conference C, if we can get 20 plus wins, if that'll boost us up, as long as we can get through the first couple of rounds of the NCAA tournament, that could, hopefully, give us what we need to finally get above 50. If you watched the original series, the 2017 edition, way back to episode 1, we started with 0 prestige. So we've gone from 0 to 46. This is out of 100, but there are very, very few teams that even rank anywhere near 60, 70, 80. You really get into the super elite once you get up there. So it's not like the top teams are at 95 or something. They're in the 80s. So 50 would be a huge landmark for us. And hopefully we can get there after this season. Okay, so school records. We're going to go for career records. Career records here. So Clint King, the all-time field goals made leader by 4 over Brian Watkins. Recent guys here. So our all-time best player that we've ever had. You can see he's not monumentally above Watkins, quietly just behind him on the list. Free throws made, it is Watkins, that's one thing, but he and Clint King level. It's crazy how close they are on that. 3-pointers, Edward Ramey leading the way on that one, surprisingly, by 3 over King's partner in crime, Justin Granberry. And Clint King, are you kidding me? The power forward with 119 made 3-pointers. Whew. That guy's going to have a good NBA career. If he can play inside-outside like that. Field goal percentage. And there he is on top, Clint King. You can see here that he's got a lot fewer attempts than Watkins had to do very similar numbers. We have 8 guys that have had enough attempts in their career, so this list will slowly fill out. Free throw percentage? Nobody. Not one player has ever had enough to make that list. 3-pointers, only 3 players have made that list of having enough attempts, and none of them shot the ball terribly well. Points? There you go. Clint King with a near 50-point margin over Brian Watkins. And as close as everything was, you would have figured Watkins would have been ahead. Shooting guard, power forward, total number of field goals, free throws identical. What's the difference? 3-pointers. And it goes to the power forward, not the shooting guard. Granberry, third on that list. So like I said, those 2, that was the best recruiting class we've ever had. And it was only 2 players. Could Cougar and Thomas be similar to these 2? I think those guys were about 23 and like 30-something or 40-something. So, similar in terms of rank quality. Both A's. Both were A's. Could be. Runyon, Ramey. Round out the top 5. Assists, Eric Wynn by a single assist over shooting guard Brian Watkins. Nice to see that. Granberry as well, small forward, number 4 on that list. He and King really connected well, those 2 playing together for as long as they did. Rebounds, Clint King, major advantage over fellow partner in crime, Granberry, who then has a massive advantage over Jefferson in 3rd. Cougar's a really good rebounder, so let's hope that he's going to join those 2 at the top of the list. Steals, it's Watkins. That's one thing that really helped him out. I think he got some of his scores on fast breaks after getting steals. But there's King as well, and Granberry. That's part of the reason why last season was so surprising. After those guys were gone, we replaced that production and had a really good year in what I thought was going to be a rebuilding year. Clint King doubling up everybody else in blocks, or just about. Double doubles, 56 for King, 18 for Granberry, and then 9 for Rick Scott in third. That's insane. Current guys, Walter's got 3, Kirkland has 1. That's not much. Triple doubles? Never. We still have never had a triple double. Games played, Granberry, right on top of that list. Clint King, he missed a lot with the injury. So 106 for him is big. 4-year starter, but he missed more than half a season. Actually, he missed nearly a full year because he missed the whole beginning of the next season. So he missed 2/3 of a season, and then he missed a quarter of a season. Or he missed half a season and a third, whatever it was, but it was nearly one full season spread out. So Clint King really only got 3 seasons in, for the most part. And there's Watkins, 119, just a couple off Granberry's mark. All right, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get to the season. I think you've waited long enough. We're going to skip to the Washington game, as that's our first actual challenge on the year. Should be, anyway. So Virginia, the one team in conference that opens the season ranked at number 15. Siena is our first game. Again, at home, this should be an easy victory. Drink some water here real quick. All right, well, we opened the season with a win, 85-48. Quick look at the box score. Let's see, Emery, 2 points, 1 of 5 shooting. Told you he's not a scorer, but he is a plus 25. Joey Walter, 9 points, 4 of 11 shooting, 8 rebounds though. Davies, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Nobody in major foul trouble. Very few turnovers. 3 blocks for LaShawn Russell, the point guard. Nice. Lockwood, 13 points for him. And here we go. LaShawn Russell, huge day. 19 points, 7 of 12 shooting. 5 for 10 beyond the arc. So he was 2 for 2 inside of 3. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists. 3 blocks. Just 2 turnovers for the point guard. And looks like there's some good production off the bench too. And every single player had a plus-minus with a positive net. 48% from the field to their 36. We dominated every aspect of the game, and we cruised through the second half with a level score. That was game over at halftime. I thought Washington was the second game on the calendar. Apparently it was the third. I could definitely see us being ranked by the time we begin the conference schedule. How we do in conference, hard to say. It's Conference C. The beat 'em up of the top conferences. Well, we've reached that point. Okay, so Northern Colorado, our second game of the season. I would expect another comfortable victory here. And we got it. 22 points. Bit closer this time, but still, see everybody but Fleming and Kirkland positive. Davies 11 for 12 from the field with 26 points and a plus 28. Only 4 rebounds on the day, but why would you get rebounds when you're making every shot, right? Lockwood 2 for 10. Russell 2 for 8. Those guys were cold, but jeez, Davies 11 for 12. 8 rebounds for Walter. A few steals for Emery. That's why he's in, by the way. That defense. Again, 47% to 32%. So far, we are making other teams suffer in the paint, in shooting. So far. We haven't gotten to the real opponents yet. Sorry, Northern Colorado. Sorry, Siena. But finally, that was our level. I would have been fortunate to win against them once upon a time. But now, no. We've flipped that table. And we are the dominant force that we weren't before.
You have new man.
Okay, we got our letter of intents from both guys. So, for an example, here is, Alcorn State. Massive favorites. All 5 starting positions favoring us. By the way, here's Washington, the report. Oh, that's changed. Oh, that has changed. Okay, the initial report had Washington as the favorite by a slight edge. I think it was 53-47. Now we're the favorites. Curious. I didn't know that would change. See, our RPI only 77. Absolute crushed the teams we played, but who did we play? Teams in the bottom end of the rankings. Ooh, look at that. NIT season tip-off. Duke, Virginia up to number 7. And then Boston College and Kentucky. Boston College, ranked number 8, is Conference C. This is the life now. This is the life. That's what we've got to face now. Boston College beat Kentucky. Duke beat Virginia, but it was close. By the way, Udonis Cougar. I think, anyway, off the top of my head, Hawaii. We recruited him on location, being the neighboring state, being something he cared about. But University of Hawaii, handful of divisions below us, and you add that piece in to the recruiting, and Oregon's that next state over. It's a long flight, but it's still close. And it's true. I lived, not in Hawaii, but I lived in a Pacific Island chain, Northern Mariana Islands, for a few years. The Pacific Coastline, Washington, Oregon, California, that's the destination for 99% that go stateside. The 1% just go to the big places. New York, Chicago. And that's it. It's all West Coast. LA, yes, big target. San Francisco, big target. Seattle, Portland. That's where they go. Anyway, so here we go. First and only live game of this episode. And the most difficult game, besides our weekend tournament that we're going to have in December. not knowing who yet we might play in that one. Kansas State in the opener. It should be the favorite, but that of course is going to be on a neutral territory. Alright, so we've got 10, 10, 16, 5, and 9 a game, but of course they've only played two games so far. They are 1-1. They've already lost a game. Oh, you're going down. You're going down. So through our 2 games, Russell, 12.5 game, Lockwood, 11. Emery, the low scorer. Walter should be up a bit higher, but he is getting 8 rebounds a game. And Davies, 20 a game at the moment, after that nice 11 for 12 performance in that last one. That's going to come down a bit, but good start of the season for him. And here we go. The Huskies on the Ducks court. Of course, we're not the Ducks, but we do have the Matt Knight Arena layout, as that is my alma mater, and I do not have my own floor of design. And oh my goodness, we have some momentum. It's 12-5 here early on this one. Funny thing about this, and by the way, I very, very nearly, it was like 52-48 on my final decision of applying to University of Oregon over Washington. I'm from the state of Washington, just on the other side of the river from Portland. Distance, either way, is about the same to Eugene to go to U of O or Seattle for UW. And I was very torn between the two. I was able to quickly eliminate Washington State and Oregon State. They didn't have the programs I wanted. They were small towns. So I do have a soft spot in my heart for UW. I do have, I used to be a teacher. I have former students of mine that were, that went to or still go to University of Washington. We're up by 19 points, by the way, and still have all of the momentum. So things are looking up and up at the moment. Emery 2 for 7 shooting, but everybody else shooting the ball pretty well. Well, Walter, I guess 2 of 6, but it is 37-13 here as the lead has stretched beyond 20 now. Washington 4 for 23 from the field, now 4 for 24, 16%. That's stifling defense right there as they finally get their 5th score, and that still doesn't even break 20% field goal percentage as we still have all of the momentum. Washington's only committed 1 foul. That's about the only thing that could keep them in this game, but we're plus 10 on rebounds, plus 2 on turnovers, plus 30% from the field, 7 for 14 beyond the arc, while they are 2 of 14. We've more than doubled them up as we approach halftime, 52-21. And it's been a balanced scoring. Nick Davies already has a double-double with 10 points and 11 boards at the half. And he was sitting out a good while before the half as well. 30-point lead. Wow. Could this be our year? It's just Washington, but we are playing an elite team here and absolutely crushing them right now. But anyway, as I was saying, I do have a soft spot in my heart for the Huskies, but my alma mater, the University of Oregon, they have it out. So here's the thing. This is how we see it, because in-state rivalries should be bigger. Oregon State should be our main rival, and they certainly are our rival. And among fans, among families, Oregon State tends to be the bigger rival. Like, for me, specifically, I have a couple of cousins who went to Oregon State, and I have a couple other family members, extended family members, that are big fans of Oregon State. And then the rest of us are all Oregon fans. So, we have a split family when it comes to that, and By the way, we're up by nearly 30 points here with 8 to play. A lot of guys into double digits. A lot of guys resting, sitting this one out here in the second half. But another huge day for Davies with 16 points, 13 boards, and relatively limited minutes for him. Russell's got 13, Lockwood's got 12, and that lead's actually come down a little bit, but we still have the momentum, so there's no reason to use timeouts and just get to the end here. 5 minutes to go, but the lead is down to 20. I'm going to go ahead and use a timeout and try to get things settled down. There we go, lead back to 18 before they gain too much momentum, get back in this game. There we go. All right, well, anyway, for the Ducks, we've always looked at the Beavers, or at least over the last 20 years, as they're from a smaller town. They're not that far away. We look at them more like a little brother. And yes, you get rivalries with little brothers, but you also have sympathy for little brothers when they struggle, when they get beat up. And so, yes, we love to beat Oregon State, but in certain sports, and this is not true everywhere, for example, Oregon State is fantastic at baseball, as most would know. 84-62 is the final score. Russell 15, Lockwood with 12. Davies finishes with 24 and 16. Massive double-double. Nowhere near a triple-double, though, as he didn't get anything else to go with it. No assists, no steals. A couple blocks, though. A lot of guys with 2 to 3 blocks. Plus 14 on rebounds, 2 on turnovers, 49% from the field. They did improve to 33%, so things did go better eventually, but neither team got to the free throw line very often. This was a wide open game. In the end, right about 40% from beyond the arc to their 30%. Both teams with 3 makes. We just did it on 7 fewer attempts. (84-62), 22-point victory, and we go to 3-0, and that RPI should jump a bit after that. Let's finish this week off, and I'll finish what I was saying. So no offense to Oregon State, because like I said, I'm mixed, and I've got family, and I don't want to trash talk them. Just kind of repeating what others have said. I'm sure everybody has those type of rivalries out there. The other one is Washington. Now, if you look at the two states, the Northwest, they're very much tied together, Oregon and Washington, and especially for someone like me, where I live 5 minutes outside of Oregon, in Washington. But the city that's nearby, the hub, the media, all of that is Oregon. So I very much have loyalty to both. And a lot of people in Oregon and Washington are loyal to both. And there's plenty of states out there that share similar connections like that as well, while there are some that are very independent, a.k.a. California, Texas. But anyway, for Washington, they kind of have the same thing. A lot of people for University of Washington look at Washington State as that little brother. So they got their rivalry, they've got their Apple Cup. But some people tend to look down on Washington State. They have up years, they have really competitive years, but they have a lot of down years as well. Pullman's it's small. It's hard to recruit. They get the right players, they get them in stretches, and they'll have up years, but they never seem to last. And it's the same for Oregon State. So, the two powerhouses in the Northwest, and we're not even going to talk about Boise State, by the way. The two powerhouses, Washington, Oregon. That's where the rivalry is. So, beating them, always big. Even if it's as the Olympic decathlon rings. RPI is down, number 5 in the nation. After that, we are 4-0, but we are not ranked. Not yet, anyway. I think the winning can continue for a while yet. We have a little bit of time left, and I'm just gonna sim through a couple weeks real quick just to see. SIU Edwardsville is the next one on the calendar. That would be Southern Illinois University if I know my stuff. Hopefully I do. It's nice. I've never seen us with an RPI this high, though. Ever. We're only 4 games into the season, but that Washington win, and by so much over a Conference B opponent, that was big. This could be a good year for us. Like I said, last year, Conference D, rebuilding year, and we managed to get promoted. 5-0, by the way, now. Alcorn State up next. They're a decent team, but we're heavily favored. And again, being at home for this entire non-conference schedule, or just about, unfair. I don't make the schedule. I don't alter the schedule. It's possible. It could happen. I could do it, but I don't. I let the game dictate what the schedule is going to be. The athletic director dictate what the schedule is going to be. I don't have anything to do with that. I let it be. You may choose to play differently. That's how I play. Top 25s as of right now. Duke, Syracuse still undefeated. North Carolina, Michigan State both taking a loss along with Kentucky, Boston College, and Virginia from our conference up to 6th and 7th. Louisville, Florida, and Purdue round out the top 10. Oregon undefeated down there in 15th. Yes, sorry, I just keep bringing them up. Can't help it. Stanford, 5-2. Oklahoma State's undefeated. Memphis. There's a team that's normally up there that I haven't seen up there much in this game. Uh, 6-0 now. East Carolina is next on the calendar. They're just 1-3. They are definitely not at the bottom of the conference rankings, but there are quite a few divisions below us now that East Carolina should be an easy one to take care of. But I'm trying to keep my eye on this top 25 to see when our name shows up, when they're going to give us the respect. Prestige-wise, 46. That's not that high. So it takes a little while to get that recognition. Undefeated or not. Check those emails real quick, see what's going on. Okay, here we go. Kansas State coming up. Conference C. That's our conference. So Kansas State is in this tournament, and they are the slight favorites on neutral territory. So we might be good. We're not that good. Had a good start. But we're not that good. Portland, Conference P, heavy favorites, but we're going on the road to a rival. So I still give them a chance. RPI drops to 22 with that weaker listing of opponents. Oregon drops their first game. Okay, here we go. So East Carolina should be the easier one. Seven and 0. 90-57, so we're still blowing teams out. We've got Portland, the rival, up next. Should be a win. But I'm still slightly nervous about that one. Oh, it's still 4 days away. Okay, so try to sim quick here, see if we can't get one more game off the calendar knocked off, but it is time to start wrapping things up. So, I'm going to finish this non-conference schedule. I would expect that we're going to have at least 10 wins by the end of the non-conference schedule. Possibly more, especially if we get a couple wins in the weekend tournament. But we've got to beat Kansas State, open it up, and that is Conference C. So we do have an in-conference opponent on the non-conference part of the schedule. So that's going to affect our ability to get that win. We are not favored, but it is very close. So is Kansas State that good? Are they one of the 2 or 3 best? Or are we now just a mid-conference opponent? Have we finally hit that point where we are in the place that we belong? Here we go. Last game of the episode. Hopefully we'll go to 8-0. I've seen this one result in a loss so many times because rivals are rivals. And it's got to play into an extra bonus at home that's not factored into other games. It's clear that home court advantage is massive. And that was on the road. We got the win, though. By 30 points. So apparently I had nothing to worry about. But that's going to do it for this episode. Like I said, we're going to get started on the conference schedule next time, so I'll play those few games off camera. Hopefully if we get past Kansas State, we can pick up a couple more wins, and we can have a nice open to the season. RPI is up there at 16th. I don't expect that we'll be undefeated. I think we will lose at some point in that tournament, which is now just a couple days away. But like I said, it's non-conference. It doesn't matter. We've got a good number of wins entering the regular season. That's certainly going to help our chances. Quick look at the standings. Boston College 10-1, Virginia 9-2. We've got some 7-1s, some 8-2s. You can see just about everybody is up there. We do have a few teams struggling a bit. Houston, Gonzaga, Arizona, UCLA, Arizona State, all struggling a little bit this season, but I don't know who they've been playing. I mean, RPI-wise, UCLA is still 30th. UConn is 8th right now. So this is going to be the life now. I mean, Ohio State's the only one who's well down at 213, 6-4. So maybe they are weaker at the moment. It's hard to say. RPA is only part of the story, especially at this point in the calendar. Things are going to get real in the next episode. But like I said, that does it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.